Hello everyone, this is Jesse with Fixing It Blind. Today we got a Toro Z Master 222, and basically what's happening with her is we get spark intermittently on one cylinder and the other cylinder is just fine. I had already replaced the coils on this to test it out to make sure it wasn't the coils. It's actually this little module here, and what that is that's a timing advance. It's like a SAMS or something timing module. And we're going to basically bypass all this. We're going to take this off. We're going to put different coils on it that are going to make it so we can do without that. Because that box alone is about 150 bucks by itself. Not reasonable for the customer, and we can convert it for 100 bucks. So we're going to start off by taking off the cooler. This is for the hydro units. Okay, and I'm going to zip this right off. All right, sorry, I had to go grab the impact gun here. But I just zip these off. Let's see. Gonna have to do those ones there by hand. Now at some point you'll notice someone had been in here and lost some of the screws for this plastic side cover, so I had to take some of these and put around. Alright, so pull the cover off, and that's just a screen cover to stop debris from getting in there. And looks like we need an 8mm for the sides here. And these two side screws, these little 8mm ones, those are also what help hold and secure the cover on. What we got? Probably 12. The nice thing is this this cooler has got enough slack in it where we don't have to actually remove it and disconnect it. We can just take it and set it up here. And that way it's out of our way. So we can go ahead and take off, well, we can take off the air cleaner, get that out of our way. Sorry if you hear any wind noise. It's kind of a windy day out today. Alright, just take that out of our way. I think they're 20s. Don't want to lose these washers. They help spread the clamping force out so you don't crack the plastic. And then we need to take these 4 screws out, or bolts, not screws, but we take those out as well. Because this here metal grate actually sits in a groove above the cover. So we need to take this out so that we can get that cover off. Now you want to make sure you don't lose these washers. And let's see, I might get this this off. There's a little ring underneath here. You don't want to lose that either. And these actually come off, but these ones here, they're kind of rusted in place, so we're just going to leave them. All right. I'm going to take off the fuel pump here. Yeah, and drop screws. Now normally you'll have to remove this breather and the bracket behind it. This one's missing, but when you do remove it, there is usually 2 studs with nuts on it that you got to take off. These ones are missing. Same with on this side. So you don't need to worry about that because they're not there. They're broken. We do have to remove that. Get at that screw. Alright, so what I ended up doing is I just took the starter bolt out. A little easier to get at than this. And then that lets us pull the dipstick out and get it out of the way. So now we need to get at these guys here. That's the same size. Perfect. Now yours should be, I believe they're 8mm bolts. They shouldn't be these Torx ones. These Torx ones I put in because there was no bolts here. And basically I stole those from here and here because this part's covered by the cooler anyway, so it didn't need that extra support. Then over here we have our voltage regulator. Rectifier, whatever you want to call it. And there is a ground, if you can see underneath here. And that ground goes to another 8mm bolt, typically. In this case, it's a Torx. But that has to come out as well, so you can get that cover off. Alright, now that I dropped the socket, found it, we'll go ahead and get back to taking that bolt out there. Alrighty. Pull this cover off. And of course these studs over here are going to give me a little bit of problems. I grab a screwdriver. Right, so I've got a screwdriver here. We're going to use this to go underneath just the plastic. We don't need to, break anything, but we got to get it just far enough out to clear the little studs. Yeah, and that ended up cracking it anyway. So, all right, so we got the cover out of the way. I like to take the fan off and just set it off to the side as well, so you don't bump it. And so basically, all this is what's coming off. And then you see this white wire. We need to unplug this. This is going to be the new kill wire. Okay, the new kill wire that goes for the new coils. Oh, those are okay. All right, we got to pull this ground wire off. Now this ground wire is attached to the intake manifold bolt, so we want to make sure that we get that set back nice and tight. You know, we don't want any issues with that. So go ahead and put that right back in there. We are not going to need that for the new coils. So let's go ahead and tighten her back down. Make sure she's torqued to proper specs. And this little module here, they're 6mm bolts. Alright, and then this red wire, this is the positive wire that supplies power to the module. And we're just going to disconnect that and leave that. I will tape it up so that we don't have any issues with it shorting out. So it looks like it's a 4mm Allen wrench that takes these out. Alright, so we'll take these coils and set them off to the side. Yes, I did notice that the wire came out of that one. But since we got the parts, we'll still do the conversion. And I'll save those coils for a different machine. Now these coils, you'll see they're round on one side and flat on the other. You want the flat side facing up. Okay? So we want them to be like this. This trash out of here. You can see that these coils are slotted. That's so you can adjust the air gap between the flywheel and the coil itself. And we'll get to that here in just a minute. But for right now, we want to just put them all the way back. And then just get them snugged. They don't need to be tight right now. And the reason for that is we want the magnet to pull them close when we get a feeler gauge in there. And this ground, this green wire here, that's just a ground for the carburetor. Usually it's over here on the intake, but it looks like they had moved it when they had replaced the carburetor. Alright, snug them down. Generally, we want them at 8 to 10 thousandths, but we'll read the directions here and see what they want them set for this. Got some zip ties. We got the new kill wire. So that's going to go across here like this. What we're going to do now is we are going to end up having to change this out from a bullet style to a spade style, or else change this one to a bullet style. We'll see what we have in stock here. But first, let's set the gap, and we want, it says 9 thousandths. So, we get a little dirty here, but it looks like it's 11 thousandths. There we go. All right. Basically, we just take this and we put it in here, and then we're going to spin the magnet around and let that just suck it right in. So it looks like right here. We'll put our wrench in there. Take our zip ties, set them aside. Alright. Okay, you can see how she's in there. Now we want to loosen these up so that it can pull itself in. And we got to just kind of put pressure on it in. Tighten them down. Okay, then we're going to pull the feeler gauge out and make sure that we can spin the engine without them hitting. We're going to do the exact same thing on this one over here. Dang it. What is stopping us? I think this wire is in the way. There we go. Alright, get it in here. You see how I got it spreading both tabs. And turn it here. So the magnet's centered. Loosen her up. And push her in. Now we're going to snug them down. Now remember, they're just tiny bolts. But they need to be tight enough where they're not going to pull away. Okay, so we're going to pull this out of here. Always spin it. Make sure there's no clearance problems. Make sure it's not rubbing. Alright, so we'll go ahead and route this. It's our kill wire. And our spark plug wire's got to go down through here, through this little indent, along with this other wire. Snap it on our spark plug here. Same with this spark plug wire. I'm going to go down and under, through the gap, and on the spark plug. So now we can take and bend this back up. Got that wire on. Get this one on. And then we'll... Alrighty, so what we're going to do here is we're going to take the white wire from the engine, or from the going to the tractor itself. We're going to cut it off here. Okay. And then we're going to strip it. And we're going to crimp a female spade connector on here. Okay. And then this is going to plug into here. Okay. Now I like to wrap them up so that we know that it's not going to ground out, because when you crimp them like that, sometimes it messes up the plastic shielding. Okay, so we're just going to go like this. Start on the wire and wrap her around. Okay. And then we've got the red one here. And this one is now unused. Okay. So this is going from a DSAM ignition to a MDI ignition. I'll just tuck it down there. Make sure all of our wires are all out of the way. And running these little channels here. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and start putting her back together. Now the flywheel, you'll see if you flip it over, she only fits on there one way. So it'll only fit on there nicely one way. See how she just kind of locked in there? That's how we know that's the right way. We want to make sure our wires are out of the way and in their spots, and that these wires are somewhere near these channels. Okay. Then we'll grab our cover. We'll go ahead and put that back into place. start with the back ones because they're the biggest pain. Get that one started. Alright, then we're going to plug the voltage regulator back in. Okay, we're going to grab the other one of these. Like I said, yours will have 8mm bolts. It won't have Torx back here. We are going to now put the dipstick back in. It just slides down in here. It goes into that hole. I don't know if you can see it or not. The lighting's getting kind of bad, but it goes right into the bottom of the crankcase there. You can't really miss it. Snug that up. That's a starter bolt as well, so you want to make sure that that's really in there. Now there's a bolt here and a bolt here, and that goes on with that bracket that holds the cooler on there. So we'll go ahead and we'll put this on. I prefer to get this ring on the bolts. And then get the bolts onto these. Get them all started. And then we'll zip them down. Kind of want to go crisscross. And they don't have to be super tight. You just want to snug them up. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and we'll put this fuel pump back on. Oh, wrong ones. These ones. those just go into plastic, so you don't want to over tighten them. Alright, and then this guy goes on here. Here's where all the Torx bolts are supposed to go. Now these are pretty much just need to be tight enough to not rattle loose. Alright, so let's grab 8. No? No, these ones are 10s. Alright, we just set this up here, and these two go here. Actually, we don't want to tighten those ones down just yet. We want to get the side ones in first. Alright, and that's these little 8mm jobbies. So, see here, it goes through here, here, and then into the engine itself. So they can be a pain in the butt to line up, but they're usually not too terribly bad. Alright, we're going to start off by tightening the 8mm. We're going to tighten these ones up here. Now these ones are just in a plastic, so they don't, there's really no such thing as tight on them. And let's kind of brush this crap out. Go ahead and grab that shield. Now you got two cutouts here and here. See, on the other side you don't. The cutouts go towards the hydraulic hoses. It's basically what allows them to come through, obviously. Alright, once you get them all in, then you can start tightening them down. You don't want to tighten them down early. Makes it harder to line everything up. So we're going to go ahead and test fire this thing and see if she runs. Give it a little bit of choke. Oh yeah, she runs great. Bring her down to idle here. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and get you guys set up. We're going to take her for a test run, make sure she runs real good, cutting grass and everything.